Good evening, everyone. I hope all is well. Meeting of the Essex, please remember to mute your devices if you're not speaking. Thank you so much. This meeting of the Essex County Board of County Commissioners is hereby called to order. Due to the COVID-19 outbreak and to be in compliance with the governor's executive order, this meeting is being conducted remotely. The public is able to view this meeting via live stream on Facebook and YouTube. A link for the live stream is posted on the Commissioner website. To all participating in this meeting, please be mindful to put your microphone on mute until speaking. Additionally, please identify yourself by putting your name on the record each time before you speak. Thank you. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Cooper. Commissioner Gill.
Here.
Commissioner Graham.
Here.
Commissioner Johnson.
Here.
Commissioner Luciano.
Here.
Commissioner Mercado.
Here.
Commissioner Siebel.
Here.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares.
Here.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Here. Thank you, Madam Clerk. We will omit the salute to the flag since we are conducting this meeting remotely. However, let us pause for a moment of silence for the 2,820 souls lost here in Essex County. Thank you. I have before me certification from the clerk that this meeting is in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Madam Clerk, are there any transcripts to be approved?
Yes, Mr. President, there are 3. Conference Board meeting, June 9th, 2021, July 7th, 2021, and August 4th, 2021.
Commissioners, do you have any questions or comments? Hearing none. Commissioners, I have a motion from Commissioner Siebel and a second from Commissioner Vice President Pomares to approve the transcripts. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Cooper.
Yes.
Commissioner Gill.
Yes.
Commissioner Graham.
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yes.
Commissioner Luciano.
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado.
Yes.
Commissioner Siebel.
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares.
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Madam Clerk, are there any topics of discussion?
Mr. President, there are none.
Thank you. Okay, Madam Clerk, let's move to the public comment session. Today's meeting is a combined conference/board meeting, and we will vote on every item on the agenda. However, since we are meeting remotely, the public had an opportunity to submit questions and comments for consideration and can also call in. At this portion of the meeting, the clerk will have additional instructions for our callers. Madam Clerk.
Constituents were given the opportunity to call in or send emails for public comment prior to the meeting. If you are calling in, you will be acknowledged to speak in the order that your call was received. Emails received for public comment will be read after the calls are completed. At this time, our public information officer will announce the caller so they can state their comment or question, and be reminded you have 3 minutes to speak. Please do not have your laptop or any electronic device on while calling in. At this time, we're accepting only calls pertaining to agenda items.
Essex County Freeholders meeting.
Madam Clerk or Lionel or someone, please mute those callers.
Please note, you'll have an
We don't
opportunity
hear the conversation.
later. back in the meeting at the designated time for public comment session on non-agenda items. Chalo Malumba, our Public Information Officer, will begin our public comment session now.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Chalo Malumba, Public Information Officer for the Essex County Board of Commissioners. We do not have any callers waiting to speak at this time.
Thank you. Mr. President, we also, for agenda items only, have not received any emails for public comment.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move to ordinance and resolutions on introduction and first readings. Do we have any, Madam Clerk? You're muted.
Yes, Mr. President, we have two. We have an ordinance amending the Essex County District Solid Waste Management Plan and an ordinance amendment, ordinance 0-2015-0007. Ordinance to create the Essex County Homeless Trust Fund.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We'll read the ordinance into the record at a later time. Mr. Jackson, ordinance number 1.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board. Mr. Herman is here to address the first ordinance. Mr. Herman.
Thank you. Good afternoon. This is Elmer Herman. I'm the Executive Director of the Essex County Utilities Authority. The Essex County Utilities Authority is the regulatory agency for the collection and disposal of solid waste in the county. In that capacity, the Utilities Authority has entered into a government-to-government agreement entitled the Third Supplemental Agreement between the Authority and the Port Authority. The purpose of this agreement is for the disposal on an annual basis of approximately 370,000 tons of processable municipal waste to the Essex County Resource Recovery Facility, also known as the ECRRF, which is owned by the Port Authority and maintained by Covanta Energy. The entire term of the Third Supplemental Agreement is for the period February 1, 2022 to December 31, 2025, a 4-year period. The DEP requires and has rather strict requirements as far as regulatory waste flow control is concerned. And as a result of the requirements and as a result of the solid waste management plan, this agreement and the continuation of the delivery of the solid waste to the Essex County Recovery Facility has to be approved by way of a plan amendment. The plan amendment has been prepared and it pertains to the transaction that I've just described, and it will be approved by action of this board, which will be in the form of an ordinance approving the terms and conditions of the agreement and also for the continuation of the facility. This is I might add, will be for all of our 22 municipalities, and our 22 municipalities pursuant to regulatory waste flow control have been taking their type 10 municipal waste, also known as garbage, to this facility actually since 1994. And there have been 2 prior agreements. The last one was from 2015, which ends at December 31st, 2021, and this new one has been indicated starts at the beginning of the year. Based on the tonnage of 370,000 tons per year for a 4-year period, we have been able to negotiate a very favorable contract with the Port Authority for the benefit of our Essex County municipalities. And with the approval of this particular agreement by this board, which has to be approved on first reading and then upon public hearing and final passage, and then ultimately to the DEP, But upon approval of this agreement, it appears that our municipalities will be paying less for their solid waste disposal in years 2022, 23, 24, and 25 than they paid in 2014. So this is a good agreement for the municipalities. The facility itself is convenient for the municipalities, and consequently, the request by the Utilities Authority is that this board approve the proposed agreement and the continuation of the facility by way of ordinance at this time. Thank you.
You're on mute, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Herman. Mr. Polavecchio, any questions, comments?
Yes, I just have a quick question and a comment. Mr. Herman, typically when you come before the board with an ordinance to amend the plan, it's to either add or subtract or amend one of the haulers that uses that facility. I think that's the more typical visit you make to the board meetings. This, if I'm correct, is really the foundational agreement that allows any hauling to the facility. And without this agreement, we would have to essentially find a different agreement or a different facility to dump in. Is that correct?
Well, yes, except that it's confined to the Type 10 municipal waste. We do have other agreements wherein there is regulatory waste flow control. For instance, commercial Type 10 goes to Waste Management in Julia Street, Elizabeth, and also a bulky waste goes to the IWS facility on Doremus Avenue, New York. But this pertains to solely the 22 municipalities and the Type 10 municipal waste.
Okay, great.
And it is a large contract with 370,000 tons per year times 4. That indicates also why we were able to strike a deal that's extremely favorable to the municipalities, because of the large quantity of waste that we would be delivering to that facility over this 4-year period.
Thank you very much.
Mr. McInerney, any questions or comments?
The questions I had for Mr. Herman were addressed at the leadership meeting. Just a comment, really. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Commissioners, any questions or comments? Hearing none, I have a motion from Commissioner Mercado and a second from Commissioner Luciano to introduce ordinance number 1. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Siebold. Commissioner Mercado.
Yes.
Commissioner Luciano.
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yes.
Commissioner Graham.
Yes.
Commissioner Gill.
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper.
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares.
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move to ordinance number 2, and please read it into the record at a later time. Mr. Jackson.
Thank you, sir. Registrar Rivera is going to handle this item, Mr. President. Mr. Rivera.
Hi, good evening. Can you hear me okay? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Good evening to the Board of Commissioners and President Wayne Richardson. What this amendment is we currently are going to increase our fee up $2, and those $2 will go to help service the Code Blue initiative to better protect our New Jersey homeless population during extreme cold weather. Currently, the bill was passed a few years ago, S-3422, and we're making an amendment to the current ordinance to just change our fees from $3 to $5 for certain documents that we record within our office. That being said, what we can estimate would be an additional $120,000 to $150,000 that would be able to go to the homeless fund to be able to target our Code Blue initiatives throughout the winter.
Through you, Mr. President, may the gentleman put his name on the record?
Mr.
Yes.
Rivera,
Yes.
please put your name on the record.
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Juan Rivera, Essex County Register.
Thanks, sir.
Thank
That
you.
completes your presentation.
Yes.
All right. Mr. Polavecchio, any questions?
Yeah, quick question for Mr. Rivera. Mr. Rivera, the $3 that's currently collected under this act is collected by your office upon the recording of deeds, I think, when houses are transferred and then the deed is recorded in your office, that you collect that as part of your fees. Is the additional $2 and now $5 per document, whatever that is that extended to any other kind of recorded documents, or is it just deeds?
Yes,
Or is it something else?
deeds, discharges of mortgages, list pendants. There's several different documents that we're able to charge that extra $2 on. And if you like, I can definitely email the board a list of what those fees are. It's currently on our website as well, and then identifies what the fees go to and what's targeted to the homeless fund.
That's okay. And my point in asking that, Mr. President, was this is really a use fee. It's only passed on to those entities or individuals who are recording these documents in the registrar's office. It's not a broad-based fee. It's just it's tacked on to the fees for recording.
Thank you, Mr. Polavecchio. Mr. McInerney, questions or comments?
Mr. President, this is money put into a dedicated fund for the specific purpose which was mentioned by Mr. Rivera. So it's separate and distinct from the operating budget. It's not, none of the funds are commingled.
Thank you. Commissioners, any questions or comments?
Yes, Mr. President, this is
Commissioner
Commissioner
Cooper.
Thank you. Just quick question. Can we get just a quick overview on how these funds are spent? Like, what do we do with the funds? Yes.
Mr. Rivera, you still there?
Yes, I am.
Did you hear the question?
No, I did not.
Commissioner Cooper, would you please repeat the question?
Mr. Rivera, can you give us just a quick overview on what these funds are used for?
Well, the funds that we're collecting are going to the homeless trust fund. I don't operate that fund. I know it's for a good cause. I know it's going to help the initiative, like our initiatives for Code Blue, but I don't run that program.
I can speak a bit on that, Commissioner. You know, we
Would you please put your name on the record, sir?
I'm sorry, this is Robert Jackson, County Administrator. We do operate 13, I believe it is 13 shelters that we have for homeless. And the fund that was originally established by the legislation did not specifically actually precluded the use of that money for short-term respite care. So this money will be designed to supplement, to actually provide us money to do this short-term respite care for the homeless when it gets a massive amount of rain or cold. The facilities that we operate now are able to actually have a more robust operation than we're having now. And many times, depending upon the length of the stay and or the length of the bad weather and how many occurrences we have, the funding gets tight. This will enable us to really have a more robust program to support people who are unfortunately are met with these dire circumstances.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson.
Commissioners, any other questions or comments? Hearing none, I have a motion from Commissioner Johnson and a second from Commissioner Graham to introduce ordinance number 2. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Cooper,
Yes.
Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Graham,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Luciano,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado,
Yes.
Commissioner Siebel,
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares,
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move to ordinance and resolutions on second reading and public hearing, listing only. Do we have anything, Madam Clerk?
Mr. President, we have none.
Madam Clerk, do we have any ordinances and resolutions on second reading and, just read that. Resolution. Let's go to resolution number 13. Mr. Jackson.
Thank you. County Clerk Durkin will handle this item, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening, President Richardson and members of the board. Chris Durkin, Essex County Clerk. Over the last 3.5 years, there has been a concerted effort in New Jersey to enlarge the electorate and to engage more citizens in our democracy. The election process has been expanded. Due to a global pandemic in 2020, we had all mail-in ballot elections in every election throughout that year. And Essex County, New Jersey had its biggest turnout ever. In fact, we had the biggest turnout by percentage in any state in America. We are still in the midst of a pandemic, but we must return to our normal election process, and many voters are not aware of this. And we have added a very important component in early voting for 9 straight days from October 23rd to October 31st. Many voters don't know they will not be receiving a mail-in ballot in the mail, and they are unaware of their options to vote in the November 2nd general election. We are proposing a voter information brochure to the 191,867 households who voted in the 2020 general election. We're also seeking to print handouts of this brochure. This important voter information brochure will inform the voters of the 3 options to vote in the upcoming election. Voters can vote by mail, vote at an early voting center, or vote on election day. The state of New Jersey has offered a grant to fund both the implementation and the education of the early voting process, so the public is fully aware of their options to vote. This voter information brochure qualifies to be covered under the state grant. I am available for any questions you may have. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Mr. Polavecchio, any questions or comments?
No questions, Mr. President.
Mr. McInerney,
No questions.
Commissioners, questions or comments? Hearing none, I have a motion from Commissioner Cooper and a second from Commissioner Grant. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Siebel,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado,
Yes.
Commissioner Luciano,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Graham,
Yes.
Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper,
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares,
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move to resolutions 1 through 5, which are budget insertions. Please read them into the record at a later time. Mr. Jackson.
Thank you, sir. Budget insertion 1 is from the State of New Jersey Division of Election Management. And this is basically reimbursing us for expenses from the 2018 election in the amount of $59,624.09. Item 2 is from the Zoological Society, an additional $73,115 that will make their total contribution to the budget $600,000 for the year, in addition to the money that they previously gave us. Item 3 is from the, again, state of New Jersey. This is our comprehensive county funding allocation for the Youth Services Commission in the amount of $1,565,806. Broken up into 3 components: $516,000 for family court services, $995,000 for state community partnership program services, and $56,000 for program management, and there is no county match. Item 4 is the LEAP program, the Local Efficiency Achievement Program, which we've discussed on a couple of meetings in partnership with our friends over in Union County, with them sending their inmates to us. The original resolution was approved on 7/7, and this is an amount of $250,000, and again, no county match. Item 5, Office of Law and Public Safety from the Attorney General's Office. This is a body-worn camera grant program for the Sheriff's Office in the amount of $501,348, and it covers the period of January 1, 2021 through December 31st, 2025, and again, no county match.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Mr. Paulavecchio. Any
No questions. No, sir.
Mr. McInerney.
No questions.
Commissioners, questions or comments? Hearing none, I have a motion from Commissioner Johnson and a second from Commissioner Luciano to take resolutions 1 through 5 as one. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Siebel,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado,
Yes.
Commissioner Luciano,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Graham,
Yes.
Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper,
Yes.
Commissioner President Pomares,
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move to resolutions number 6, number 36, and 37, which are from the Office of the Sheriff. Please read them into the record at a later time. Mr. Jackson.
Yes, sir. Item 6 is, as you said, from the Office of the Sheriff. This is just a resolution agreeing to accept the money that we just discussed, the $501,000. Item 36 is a contract award to General Dynamics Ammunition in the amount of $9,747.75. This is for ammunition for the Sheriff's Department, and this vendor is in compliance with the board's 2015 ordinance. Item 37 is a contract award to Rogers Group LLC to provide a policies and procedures manual for the Office of the Sheriff in the amount of $97,000. This is a publicly advertised fair and open RFP, and the vendor is going to provide standard operating procedures, general orders, and rules and regulations for the department. And that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Mr. Paulavecchio.
No questions.
Mr. McInerney.
No questions.
Commissioners, questions or comments? Hearing none, I have a motion from Commissioner Mercado and a second from Commissioner Vice President Pomares to move resolutions number 6, number 36, and 37 as one. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Cooper,
Yes.
Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Graham,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Luciano,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado,
Yes.
Commissioner Sebo, Commissioner Sebo,
You're muted. She's saying yes.
I know, I'm having trouble. It mutes, it's muting by itself when I unmuted it. The answer is yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares,
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move to resolution number 7, which is from the Department of Corrections. Please read it into the record at a later time. Mr. Jackson.
Mr. President, item 7 is simply an authorization for the county to accept the LEAP grant, the $250,000 that we just discussed. And that's simply it. It's just a resolution agreeing to accept the money.
Thank you.
Required
Mr.
by the state.
Palavecchio. No questions. Mr. McInerney.
No questions.
Commissioners, questions or comments? Hearing none. I have a motion from Commissioner Pomares, from Commissioner Vice President Pomares, and a second from Commissioner Sebo. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Sebo,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado,
Yes.
Commissioner Luciano,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Graham,
Yes.
Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper,
Absent.
absent. Commissioner Vice President Pomares,
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move to resolutions 8 and 9, which are from the Office of Management and Budget. Please read them into the record at the time. Mr. Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Our Hassan Mohammed and Mr. Drakowitz are going to explain this one because I couldn't begin to. Thank you. Hassan and John, please.
Good evening. My name is Hassan Mohammed, the County Treasurer. Back in 2019, the board passed an ordinance number 19-4 for the replacement of New Dutch Lane Bridge. The county issued short-term funding in the form of a note, and both of resolution 8 and 9 to transfer the short-term funding to long-term funding through the New Jersey Infrastructure Bank. There is no any additional funding is being authorized. It's just something we authorized before. And I have Mr. John Drakowitz, our bonding attorney, for any questions.
If I may just, Sam, again, John Drakowitz from Gibbons. I'm glad to say hello to all the county commissioners. And I just want to just add very little to what Hassan stated, but just to note that this particular loan through the New Jersey Infrastructure Bank will be, half will be at market rate, which is probably around 1.5%, and the other half will be at 0%. So the effective rate by utilizing this program, which the county administration decided to do, will basically be half the rate than it would have been otherwise. So, you know, congratulations to the county and the commissioners and the administration for selecting the iBank to get a half interest rate loan, basically. So, to the benefit of the county residents. So that's all I wanted to add to this these resolutions. The transaction should be closing by probably in mid-November.
Thank you. Mr. Palavecchio.
Just a quick question to clarify, because I feel like Mr. Jackson might get a little out of my depth on these. Is this essentially retiring that short-term debt and converting it to the long-term debt at a better rate?
John Drakowitz speaking. The answer is yes. The short-term rate, however, was very good as well. It was probably around 0.2%. So this will probably be around 0.7, 0.8, but it'll be for 20 years. So it's definitely a better long-term rate for sure. It's just a conversion, as you just noted. So no new debt will be issued, just a conversion from short-term to long-term.
Mr. McInerney.
No, just as Mr. Parlavecchio indicated, strictly a refinancing of debt already outstanding. I think at the leadership meeting, we called it something like a construction financing short term, and then the eventual terming out over a longer term of the full amount of the loan.
Thank you. Commissioners, questions or comments? Hearing none, I have a motion from Commissioner Mercado and a second from Commissioner Luciano to take resolutions 8 and 9 as one. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Cooper, Commissioner Cooper,
Yes.
Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Graham,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Luciano,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado,
Yes.
Commissioner Siebel,
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares,
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Yes.
So moved.
Resolution number 10 has been withdrawn by the administration, so let's move to resolution number 11. Mr. Jackson.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Puglisi, Director of Public Information, will handle this item. Mr. Puglisi.
Good evening, Commissioners. Anthony Puglisi, Director of Public Information. Before you is a resolution for essentially robocall services. Since the pandemic started about a year and a half ago, we've tried to keep the public as informed with timely information as much as possible. This has come in a variety of ways, through mailings, through social media, through press releases. Another tool which we have found to be very effective is the use of robocalls. Recently we've been doing 2 robocalls a week, one to send out information about our testing sites and who's eligible. And as we all know, the who's eligible can be a moving target at times. And then a second robocall has been to notify residents in specific areas, specific municipalities, of where vaccine and testing sites are, to make it as, you know, let people know where we're going to be with our mobile unit, and make getting vaccinated or testing as easy and convenient as possible. So this is the first time that we went out for bid for this service. We did receive 3 responses. This is the lowest responsive bidder. Of all the rates, it's obviously it's the cheapest, and they come in about at 1/3 the cost of what we have been paying previously per call.
Thank you, Mr. Puglisi. Mr. Parlavecchio, any questions?
No questions.
Mr. McInerney,
No questions.
Commissioner.
Mr. President, I have a statement. I'm
Oh,
getting the
Commissioner
robocalls.
Siebel. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm getting the robocalls from the county executive on a regular basis every week, both on my landline and on my cell phone. And I think those robocalls are really wonderful, and I am getting a lot of feedback from residents who are very, very appreciative of the fact that they are being called and getting the information. I think it's a really good procedure.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Mr. President.
Mr. President.
Commissioner Cooper.
Thank you, Mr. President. I too just want to echo that those are some magnificent phone calls. They're very informative, and I've recommended to other health officers throughout the state that I know to mimic what we've done here in Essex County, because we've really done a great job at keeping our constituents informed. Quick question. Is that a penny per call? Am I reading that correct?
This is Anthony Puglisi. It's a penny per call, yes.
All right, thank you.
It's a penny per number that's called. So if you were to call 100 people, it would be $1 per service.
Thank you.
Commissioners, any other questions or comments? Hearing none, I have a motion from Commissioner Cooper and a second from Commissioner Siebel Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Siebel,
Yes.
Commissioner McCarlo,
Yes.
Commissioner Luciano,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Graham,
Yes.
Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper,
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares,
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move to resolution number 12, which is from the Office of the County Council, and we will read them into the record at a later time. Mr. Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Director of Labor Relations, Robin McGrath, will handle this item.
Good evening, Mr. President and board members. Robin McGrath, Director of Labor Relations. I'm presenting resolution number 12, which is a collective bargaining agreement between the County of Essex and Geneso District Council 1, a union at the Essex County Hospital Center. This document contains no new terms and conditions. What this document does is it incorporates a previous collective bargaining agreement from 2006 to 2007, along with some subsequent memorandums of agreement from 2008 to 2010, 2011 to 2013, 2014 to 2017, 2017, and 2018 to 2019. At the request of the union, the memorandum of agreement from 2020 through 2023 was not included in this very comprehensive document, but will be attached as a memorandum of agreement, which only contains wage increases. So this is a document that is it incorporates one collective bargaining agreement with the memorandums of agreement for one comprehensive document, similar to the CWA 1040 collective bargaining agreement I presented during the last commissioners meeting. Are there any questions? It is 2 years, 2018 to 2019.
Thank you, Ms. McGrath. Mr. Polavecchio.
I don't have any additional questions.
Mr. McInerney.
I don't have any questions.
Commissioners, questions or comments?
Mr. President,
Commissioner Siebel.
it sounds like a very good agreement, so I'm very pleased to hear this.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, I have a motion from Vice President Pomares and a second from Commissioner Mercado. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Cooper,
Yes.
Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Graham,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Luciano,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado,
Yes.
Commissioner Siebel,
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares,
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move to resolutions 14 and 15, which are from the Department of Health, Division of Hospital Center, and we will read them into the record at a later time. Mr. Jackson.
Director Del Gaudio from the Hospital Center will handle these items.
Good evening, Commissioners. Frank Delgadio, Director, Essex County Hospital Center. Resolution number 14 is a 2-year affiliation agreement with Kane University. This is a renewal of our previous affiliation agreement. This is for rehabilitative services, mostly recreational therapy services. Resolution 15 is another affiliation, a 2-year affiliation agreement with the Academy of Clinical and Applied Psychoanalysis and the Institute of Counseling and Psychoanalytic Studies. This again is a renewal of a ongoing affiliation agreement with this organization that's been giving us students basically every year that it's been existing now. And I'm recommending that we continue with these affiliation agreements.
Thank you, Director. Mr. Polavecchio,
No questions, Mr. President.
Mr. McInerney,
No questions.
Commissioners. Questions or comments? Hearing none, I have a motion from Commissioner Luciano and a second from Commissioner Johnson to take resolutions 14 and 15 as one. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Siebel,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado,
Yes.
Commissioner Luciano,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Graham,
Yes.
Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper,
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares,
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move to resolutions 16 and 89, which is added starter from the Division of Community Health Services, and we will read them into the record at a later time. Mr. Jackson.
Thank you, sir. Director Eileen Fishman will handle these two items, Mr. President.
Good evening, Mr. President and Board of Commissioners. This is Eileen Fishman. I'm the Director of the Division of Community Health Services for the county. Number 16 is a letter of acceptance of intent for $1,685,840 for our alcoholism and drug abuse services grant from the state of New Jersey. This is an increase of about approximately $200,000 over our grant last year, because unfortunately we are still number one in overdose deaths in the state of New Jersey, and we need the money to continue to combat that and bring people into recovery. Number 89 is a contract for one of our newest programs, which is called Reach for Recovery. It's our mobile outreach program, where we are in now 10 of the 22 towns. We are there usually from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And we counsel people, assess them, get them into the level of recovery they would like to be in, or they need to be in. We also have partnerships with Iris House and Hyacinth for HIV and AIDS screening. We have partnership with Community Food Bank, New Jersey Community Food Bank, to help people, and we give out all sorts of prevention and education materials at those sites. And that is the contract is with Integrity House, and it is not to exceed $205,000. This evening, I believe we have Robin Shorter with us from Integrity House. If you have any questions, and of course, if you have any questions for me, I'm happy to answer.
Thank you, Ms. Fisher. Mr. Polavecchio, any questions?
Yeah, it's a question on number 16. Mr. Fishman, the comprehensive grant in that large amount, is that targeted to one particular program, or does that fund myriad programs?
Oh, no, it is awarded to providers, multiple providers. There are about 12 or 14 programs that the money is spread around to. For some provide prevention and education, others provide detox services, inpatient or intensive outpatient or outpatient recovery services.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Hold on.
Mr. McInerney?
No questions.
Commissioner, questions or comments?
Yes, Mr. President.
Yes.
I would just like to commend Eileen Fishman for doing such a wonderful job heading a very, very difficult department. So thank you, Eileen Fishman.
Thank you, Commissioner Seabolt. I appreciate that.
No, absolutely. I echo those sentiments. I do have a question for Integrity House. So exactly what will your role be for the money that you're going to be receiving? What are you guys going to do?
Name for the record, please.
Hi, this is Robin Shorter from Integrity House, along with my colleague.
This is Alana Moses, the Prevention Program Manager.
Could you kindly repeat the question?
Yes, you guys are going to be receiving over $200,000. Exactly what services are you going to provide for that money?
Okay, so a few of the services. So there will be a mobile outreach services to the vulnerable population in Essex County, to include, as we describe them, our RWAs, those residents in Essex County without addresses. We will work to eliminate or minimize barriers to treatment, provide on-the-spot detox services. In addition to, we have the ability to provide Narcan in the community to individuals. And Alana can add a few more services.
We also assist each individual with education. So if they're not able to, or if they don't want treatment at the time, we provide a bag called a Lifeline bag that has a lot of resources in the community that will be able to assist them with getting substance use help, HIV testing, mental health, COVID vaccination, COVID testing. We also have partnered just recently with the New Jersey COVID testing 19. So they come with us on site for those who want to get tested also. Along with that, we do provide snacks and coffee for those who come to the table and want to learn more information, and those who are hungry also.
So I'll also say, we are able to provide immediate access and services to individuals who do not have an ID, may not have a birth certificate, or whose medical insurance may be, not active. So, because as we all know, sometimes those are barriers to services, not having an ID, not having a social security card. So we can also walk individuals, our consumers, through that process as well, and ensure that they get the necessary documentation so that they just can move forward and receive other services in Essex County.
Thank you. That was a mouthful.
So we are very hopeful that we answered your questions. We're really easy to reach. If you have additional questions, we'll be more than happy to answer them.
Thank you so much. Commissioners, any questions or comments? Hearing that, I have a motion from Commissioner Cooper and a second from Commissioner Sebo to take resolutions 16 and 89 as one. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Sebo,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado,
Yes.
Commissioner Luciano,
Yes.
Commissioner Graham,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper,
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares,
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Please be reminded, we will conduct a public comment session for non-agenda items at the end of the meeting. Any other call-ins? Clerk can give them the call-in information. Can you give them the call-in information, please?
Yes, Mr. President. The call-in information is 855-756-7520. That's 855-756-7520, and use the passcode 76034 76034 After entering the password, listen for the prompt, press 0 to be placed in the queue to speak during the meeting.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move to resolutions 17 through 27, which are from the Department of Parks, and we'll read them into the record at a later time. Mr. Jackson.
Mr. President, Mr. Zates will handle these items.
Joshua Zates,
Essex County Parks. Good evening, Commissioners. Number 17 is a resolution agreement between the county and the Township of West Orange to provide partial funding from the Recreation Open Space Trust Fund for West Orange acquisition of 94.55 acres of open space, which is currently owned by the Crestmont Country Club. If the board can remember back to the August 4th meeting, the board approved $750,000 from the Open Space Trust Fund for West Orange for this acquisition. This is simply just the agreement between the county and West Orange to move forward with that. Number 18 is authorization to use the Recreation Open Space Trust Fund to fund rubber safety surface repairs at both the Weequahic Park Building 92 Playground and the Verona Park Playground, in the amount not to exceed $495,045. This is authorization from the trust fund. This is for an existing contract we have with Whirl Construction. This is simply to repair those playgrounds mentioned. It includes over at Weequahic the removal and disposal of 10,800 square feet of top coat surfacing, and then supply and install the same amount of new top coat surfacing. And then over in Verona, it's to dispose of approximately 19,845 of existing turf, and then to replace it with new turf. Again, this is for an existing contract. This is simply just the funding source to do that project out of that contract. Number 19 and number 20 are related, in that number 19 is the funding source. Number 19 is amount not to exceed $661,986 from the Open Space Trust Fund to fund Little League Baseball field improvements at Weequahic Park. Number 20, I believe we have Mr. Antonio on the line from Public Works to discuss the project in more detail.
Good evening. David Antonio, Department of Public Works. Item number 20 is award to Athletic Fields of America Incorporated, the lowest responsive and responsible bidder, to provide the Weequahic Park Little League Baseball field improvements. This will be a 90-day contract, not to exceed $661,986. This is a WBE certified firm. Funding will come from the trust fund, and this bid was the lowest of two bids received. We have a representative from Athletic Fields of America on the phone to introduce himself and to brief us on the project. I think to the Phil Christian.
This is Phil Pirro. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Phil Pirro. I'm the Vice President of Athletic Fields of America. As was mentioned, we're a WBE woman-owned business enterprise based in Montville, New Jersey. We're a general contractor that specializes in synthetic turf fields. This happens to be the 6th synthetic turf field in Essex County in the last 2 years. So we've done a few of these. General scope of work is 36,000 square foot synthetic turf field that's approximately 10 or 11 years old. We're removing the existing synthetic turf and infill, disposing of everything, regrading the subbase, and furnishing and installing new synthetic turf and infill. And there's a few amenities associated with the project, drinking fountains, a little bit of concrete flat work, scoreboard, etc. So ancillary stuff related to the field, but it's an improvement that should take less than 90 days, but that is the contract amount. It's the Little League field on the Elizabeth Avenue side of the park. I think that's pretty much the job in a nutshell.
Thank you very much.
Joshua Zay, Security Parks. Moving on to number 21. 21 and 22 are related. 21 is partial funding for number 22. 21 is an authorization from the Recreation Open Space Trust Fund not to exceed $713,095 to partially fund the new Asian exhibit over at the Turtleback Zoo. In addition to the open space amount, the balance of the funds will come from capital, which is $3,022,630. Again, Mr. Antonio is on the line from Public Works, as well as our zoo director, Jillian.
David Antonio, Department of Public Works. Item number 22 is an award to APS Contracting Incorporated, the lowest responsive and responsible bidder for the new amazing Asia exhibit. This is a contract not to exceed $3,735,725. This is an SBE certified firm. Funding will be capital and trust fund, and the project will last 180 calendar days. This bid was the lowest of 5 received. This is the replacement of the existing animal exhibit building, which is currently used for red pandas and spotted leopards. On the phone is Daniel Carmold from APS to once again brief us on the project and introduce his firm.
Yes, hello. This is Dan Carmel. I'm Vice President at APS Contracting. We're a small business run out of Paterson, New Jersey. We've been around now for about 20 years, and we've done multiple projects for Essex County before. We have a great relationship and are looking forward to working with you again at the zoo.
Joshua Zates, Essex County Parks. Again, Mr. President, I believe our zoo director is on the line as well to answer any questions you may have and just give a little more insight to the exhibit.
Please, let's get the director on and have the director introduce themselves and tell us a little bit more about the project.
Hi, everyone. This is Jillian Fazio. I'm the zoo director at Turtleback. Thanks for listening tonight. We're excited about this renovation. It is going to improve the existing habitats for our clouded leopard and red panda. It is within the footprint of the zoo, and it will improve our ability to cooperate with the AZA and the SSPs for these species.
Thank you.
Joshua Zates, Essex County Parks. Moving on to number 23. 23 and 24 are related in that 23 is the funding source for 24. 23 is an authorization from the Recreation and Open Space Trust Fund in an amount not to exceed $70,000 for the 2021 Rutgers Cooperative Extension Program. And then number 24 is the actual agreement with Rutgers. We have had a partnership with Rutgers for, it's got to be well over a decade, if not 2 decades. They are stationed out of Garibaldi Hall over at the Environmental Center. They run various programs, and we are excited to once again partner with them. Number 25 is a contract award to Green Valley Landscape Design and Maintenance to provide snow and ice removal over at the South Mountain Recreation Complex in an amount not to exceed $489,300. Specifically, this is for removal of snow over at the South Mountain Recreation Complex it would begin November 1st, 2021 and run through March 31st, 2022. Then during the summer season, obviously, they would take a break to continue again November 1st, 2022, run through March 31st, 2023, again with a break, and then November 1st, 2023 till March 31st, 2024. So it is a 15-month contract for services, which, as you can see, spans over the course of 3 calendar years. The monthly amount for that is $32,620. Number 26, I'm sorry, I believe we do have a representative from Green Valley on the line.
Hi, this is Patrick from Green Valley Landscaping.
Hi, Patrick, you want to tell us a little bit about what you're going to be doing?
Sure. So our scope of the work is the snow plowing for the parking lots of everything outside the zoo and the walking paths. So we'll take care of all the parking lots and the sidewalks, the walking path around the reservation, including, calcium applications, salt applications, things of that nature.
Thank you.
Joshua Zates, Essex County Parks. Number 26 is a contract extension for 24 months with Northeast Roof Maintenance to provide roofing services at various Essex County Park facilities. Simply, this is general roof repair work throughout any of the buildings that encompass the Essex County Park system. Number 27 is a contract award to the 2 lowest bidders based on a base per group. Sugar Property Services, which would be Group 1, and Clark Moynihan Landscape and Construction for Group 2. They would be providing landscape maintenance in various parks, not to exceed $479,976 for Kroger and $498,850 for Clark Moynihan. Specifically, group number 1 for Kroger includes Brookdale Park, Renfield Park, Bisbee, Anderson, and group number 2 includes Arden, Veteran, Quake, and Reception. I do believe we have representatives from both.
Since they're here, let's get them on.
Good evening. This is Clarence Nathaniel Sconyers III, project manager from the Schauger Group, Schauger Property Services. The Schauger Group is a WB company in existence for over 40 years. We've had the opportunity to service the County of Essex in a multitude of different projects, everything from property maintenance for landscaping. We've been performing since 2015. Snow removal. We've also done different projects at Turtleback Zoo, roadway improvements and things of that nature. The contract at hand is for the Group A for lawn maintenance, mowings, brush clearings, plantings, and general cleanup. That also includes leaf removal and any other services required specified in the contract.
Thank you.
Joshua Zate, County Parks. I do believe we have a representative from the Clark Moynihan Group on the line as well.
Let's get them on.
Hey, how are you? This is Clark from Moynihan Company. We're going to be doing Group 2, the various park landscape maintenance, including Orange Park, where we actually just in July got done renovating a section of the garden, putting in all new plantings, paver maintenance. This contract consists of landscape maintenance, lawn cutting, spring and fall cleanup. And currently we are also doing all of the lower section of Branch Brook Park as well for the county.
Thank you.
Joshua Zates, Essex County Parks. That concludes all the parks items. I'm happy to take any questions the board may have.
Thank you, Mr. Zates. Mr. Parlavecchio.
No questions, Mr. President.
Mr. McInerney.
Mr. President, just generally, these are either capital projects that are funded either capital budget as well as the Open Space Trust Fund, and then a number of them are contracts for services to be rendered, which are charged and authorized through our operating budget. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. McInerney. Commissioners, questions or comments?
Mr. President, I have a couple of statements that I'd like to make. First of all, a number of these items were discussed fully at the Open Space Trust Fund Advisory Board meeting. I would first like to speak about item 17. Item 17 has to do with land which is owned by Crestmont Country Club. Crestmont Country Club is on the corner of Eagle Rock Avenue and Laurel Avenue in West Orange. This funding does not affect Crestmont Country Club at all. They own a lot of land and it fronts on Eagle Rock Avenue. Originally, developers wanted to come in and develop the land. And West Orange was very upset about it because they didn't want to have further development. It's a beautiful piece of open space. And I'm really pleased that we are approving this and going into an agreement with West Orange to provide the funding for this open space. And if you haven't taken a look at it, you ought to drive on Eagle Rock Avenue and see all the land that will remain as open space. The other item I'd like to talk about is number 21. 21 has to do with the Amazing Asia exhibit. This is going to be a redoing of land that's already within the confines of the zoo. And I think it's very important that the public understand that. I was at a meeting, I'm on the Environmental Commission. And we had a meeting this Monday night. And the meeting was on Zoom. And we discussed this item specifically. And a woman from West Orange got on and claimed that we were extending out of the zoo into the West Orange Reservation, and she was very unhappy about it. I explained to her that this was being done within the limits of the zoo. Well, what happened was she started to curse at me, and they had to delete her from the Zoom meeting. And I think everyone needs to know that the public isn't always informed about what we are doing, and they need to know so that these kind of actions don't take place when we're doing what's beneficial for the citizens of Essex County. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Seabold, and rightfully so. They should have deleted her out of the meeting.
They did, and I was very happy that they did.
Behavior is not acceptable.
It would be the same as if someone came on this meeting and started to curse at us.
Absolutely. I agree wholeheartedly, sure.
Mr. President?
Commissioner Cooper.
Thank you. I have a question about resolution number 17. What is the difference between this resolution and what we approved a month or two ago? I may have missed the explanation.
Sure. Joshua Zates, Essex County Parks. Through you, Mr. President. So back in August, the Commissioner Board approved the allocation of $750,000 from the Open Space Trust Fund in order to fund this. Number 17, as it appears before you tonight, is the actual agreement between West Orange and the county in order to move forward on this.
All right, thank you.
Mr. President,
Commissioner Luciano.
while we have Josh on the phone and through you, I'm just a little confused because I still have yet, and maybe it was in my package and I didn't see it. If we're investing $750,000 to partner with West Orange, does the county parks department and do the commissioners know what the preliminary plans are for 94 acres? Are we keeping this as a golf course? Are we planning on doing something there? I'm just wondering, we're authorizing money to get into an agreement, but what's the short-term and long-term plans for 94 acres of land? That's a lot of land.
Mr. President.
Josh.
Sorry, Josh, go ahead.
Joshua Zates, Essex County Parks. Through you, Mr. President. So simply, this is to save the open space, the 94 acres from development. As I believe Commissioner Seabold mentioned previously, the country club was in negotiations to sell it to a private sector to build housings or apartments or what have you. This is West Orange stepped in. They want to preserve it as open space. It is going to be passive open space, as in walking trails, hiking trails. We don't anticipate them building any kind of ball field or anything like that. The property is kind of landlocked inwards, so it's accessible for hiking, but not really accessible, for more active sports such as a football or baseball field.
So then, Josh, and again through you, Mr. President, let me just ask Josh, if we're entering in an agreement, are we taking ownership and responsibility of it? Is this going to be our 94 acres to maintain? Is it going to be West Orange's? Are we both going to kind of? Again, it's a lot of land, and I'm just curious. Obviously, of course we want to purchase the land or be a part of it. We don't want it to go to a developer. But again, I'm just trying to get a little more information. I'm sure my commissioner colleagues would like to know as well. Like, what do we plan on doing here, and are we going to be owning this?
Sure. Joshua Zates, Essex County Parks. Through you, Mr. President. This is I guess you would, or not guess, this would be a grant award of $750,000 to West Orange. West Orange would be purchasing the property. They would be owning it. They would be maintaining it. The county is simply bestowing upon them a grant of $750,000 towards that purchase.
Mr. President, can I ask a question?
Please, Mr. Barlavecchio.
Mr. Zates, I think from prior conversations about this, maybe it was at the August meeting, the 94 acres is not the existing golf course. It's undeveloped land that's adjacent to the golf course. So if I'm correct, I think the country club will still own and operate the golf course and I guess the clubhouse, but this is additional land. Is that correct? Or has this changed?
Joshua Zates, Essex County Parks, through you, Mr. President. Mr. Parlavecchio is spot on. This is 94 acres that are attached to the golf course, but separate from the golf course. So they will still be keeping the golf course, maintaining it. They will simply be selling the additional 94 acres to West Orange, who again will own it, maintain it, and keep it as passive.
Thank you, Mr. Zates. Does that answer your question, Commissioner?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Commissioners, any other questions or comments? Hearing none. I have a motion from Commissioner Sebo and a second from Commissioner Mercado to take resolutions 17 through 27 as one. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Cooper,
Yes.
Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Graham,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson, Commissioner Johnson, absent. Commissioner Luciano,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado,
Yes.
Commissioner Sebo,
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares,
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move to resolutions 28 through 35, which are from the Department of Public Works, and we will read them into the record at a later time. Mr. Jackson.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Antonio from the Department of Public Works will handle these items.
Good evening. David Antonio, Department of Public Works. Item number 28 is a resolution consenting to the Borough of North Caldwell Ordinance 0-18-2021, the installation of flashing stop signs and all associated striping at the intersection of Central Avenue and Grandview Avenue and West Granbrook Road in the Borough of North Caldwell. Item number 29 is from the Division of Buildings and Grounds. It's a contract award to Rotundi and Sons Incorporated, the sole responsive and responsible bidder to provide for leaf collection, removal, trucking, and disposal services. This will be a 2-year agreement, an amount not to exceed $250,000. Item number 30 is Division of Engineering contract award to Civicos Enterprises for the renovation and addition to the West Side Park Community Building. This contract will be for 300 days, an amount not to exceed $7,400,000. Funding will come from both grant and capital funds. Civicos was the lowest of 2 bids received. Partial demolition and reconstruction of the community center at West Side Park, including parking and side access improvements. Additional reconstruction of the basketball courts and improvements to the existing gymnasium. Harry Civicos, Civicos Incorporated Enterprises, has joined us this evening. Harry, if you would.
Hello, can everybody hear me? This is Harold Civicos from Civicos Enterprises.
Yes, we can hear you. Please tell us a little bit about your company and the work that you're going to perform.
Thank you so much. So my name is Harold Civicos. I'm the CEO. I've done several exciting projects from the county, ranging from Weequahic Park in Newark to the Turtleback Zoo. Been in business since 1989. I'm a union carpentry house. I've been a journeyman carpenter myself since 2010. Very excited to undertake this project in the renovation in addition to the West Side Park Community Center. Essentially, we're going to be removing a section of the building. We'll be building a new 7,800 square foot state-of-the-art community center. We'll be removing the existing parking lot, basketball courts, and tennis courts, which are in poor condition. We'll be
replacing them with a new parking lot with more capacity and 2 new basketball courts, along with some renovations to the existing building and gymnasium, like refinishing the floors and new mechanical system, which is much needed. If you guys have any questions, it'd be my pleasure to answer.
Commissioners, any questions? If not, I have. So you're a union outfit?
Yes.
So this is going to be a PLA project?
Yes, it's a PLA project. We're a union carpentry house and we're complying with the PLA.
Okay. Thank you very much. Mr. D'Antonio, next.
Item number 31, Department of Public Works. Contract award to VIP Special Services, LLC, the lowest responsive and responsible bidder to provide window cleaning services to various county facilities. This will be a 2-year agreement, not to exceed $117,200. This will be, VIP Special Services is an SBE certified firm. The locations that would be covered by this contract are the DPW building in Verona, the new MLK Justice building in Newark, Leroy Smith Public Safety building in Newark, the Veterans Courthouse in Newark, and the new employee parking garage also in Newark. VIP Special Services bid was the lowest of the 3 bids received. Item number 32 is a contract change order with AA Berms for the Irvington Avenue Streetscape Project. This will add an additional $175,825 to the contract, yielding a change of 19.05%. The additional work was required due to construction of additional manholes and conduit needed for PSE&G to install ornamental street lighting along Irvington Avenue. Item number 33 is a professional service agreement to provide engineering design services for the rehabilitation of JFK Parkway. This will be awarded to PKB Engineering Corporation in an amount of $232,150. In addition, it's an award to French and Perel Associates in an amount of $133,580 to perform engineering design services for 5 minor bridges or culverts. These are Franklin Avenue over the Second River in Belleville, Little Falls Road over the Peckman River in Cedar Grove, Eisenhower Parkway over the Willowbrook in Livingston, South Orange Avenue over the East Branch of the Roadway River in South Orange, and the Brighton Avenue Bridge, which goes over the Second River in the city of East Orange. Funding will come from capital funds. However, note that construction is already funded via NJDOT funds in the amount of $2 million. Item number 34 is an award from the Division of Fleet Services to Barnwell House of Tires, who happens to be the sole responsive and responsible bidder to provide various size tires via Cadillac discounts for county fleet vehicles. This will be a 1-year agreement, not to exceed $75,000. Item number 35 is the request for approval of emergency declaration payment to SurfPro due to flood damage repairs in the amount of $31,427.79. The emergency for damage occurred at 50 South Clinton Street on the first floor on August 16th of 2021. SurfPro's services were secured using a state contract co-op. And that concludes the items from the Department of Public Works.
Thank you. Mr. Polavecchio.
No additional questions, Mr. President.
Mr. McInerney.
I don't have any questions, Mr. President.
Commissioners, any questions or comments from resolutions 28 through 35? Hearing none. I have a motion from Commissioner Mercado and a second from Commissioner Luciano to take resolutions 28 through 35 as one. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Sebo,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado,
Yes.
Commissioner Luciano,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson? Absent. Commissioner Graham?
Yes.
Commissioner Gill?
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper?
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares?
Yes.
Commissioner Richardson?
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move to resolutions number 38 through 88. Commissioners.
Mr. President, if I may, I believe Commissioner Johnson was trying to vote on that last item, but couldn't be heard.
Okay. So you want to interpret for him?
He raised his hand.
He was signaling yes.
Okay. Okay. We got you, Commissioner.
Thumbs up.
Any questions, commissioners, on resolutions number 38 through 88?
I have one statement, Mr. President.
Please, Commissioner Sebo.
For number 68, if it hasn't been delivered yet, I'd like to be included on that.
Commissioner Gill?
I don't know if it's been, I have no problem with that, of course, but I don't know. I would have to defer to the staff. I'm not sure if it's been, I think it was sent to the funeral home. Deborah would have to answer that.
That's why I asked.
I will check, and if it's having been sent, we will edit the proclamation and include you on that. If not, Commissioner Sebo, we can include you for the record if you so desire.
Yes.
Commissioners, any other questions or comments on resolutions number 38 through 88? Hearing none, I have a motion from Commissioner Johnson and a second from Commissioner Graham to take resolutions 38 through 88 as one. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Cooper?
Yes.
Commissioner Gill?
Yes.
Commissioner Graham?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson? Okay, I see.
He put a thumb up.
A thumbs up. That's a yes for Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner Luciano?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado?
Yes.
Commissioner Sebo?
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares?
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson?
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Madam Clerk, do we have any added starters?
Okay, one moment, Mr. President. I lost my place.
If yes, we will read them into the record at a later time.
Okay. Yes, we have added starters, Mr. President, 90 and 93, and 91 and 92.
Okay, so I guess we'll take 90 and 93. Mr. Jackson first.
Thank you, sir. Item 90 is a contract award to Free Stylist LLC to provide stylist pens for our upcoming election. As you know, the process has essentially become digitized or electronic, and these stylist pens are going to be used for the voting process in the amount of $47,269.20. Item number 93 is a contract with Reliance Graphics to provide for printing services for the upcoming election and materials for that. Publicly advertised an open RFP. We received one proposal, and this will provide for voting slips, postcards, signs, and instructional booklets for the 2021 election as well as the 2022 election.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Mr. Paulovecchio,
No questions, Mr. President.
Mr. McInerney,
No questions.
commissioners, questions or comments? Hearing none, I have a motion from Commissioner Cooper and a second from Commissioner Sebo to take resolutions 90 and 93 as one. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Cooper,
Yes.
Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Graham,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson. Yes,
Thumbs up.
I see the thumbs up. Commissioner Luciano,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado,
Yes.
Commissioner Sebo,
Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares,
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Yes,
So moved.
thank you, Madam Clerk. Now let's move to 91 and 92, resolutions 91 and 92, which are from the Division of Senior Services, and we will read them into the record at a later time. Mr. Jackson.
Mr. President, Mr. Eric Smith will handle these two items.
Okay.
Good evening, Mr. President, Madam Clerk, Board of Commissioners. My name is Eric Smith. I'm the Senior Data Processing Programmer for the Division of Senior Services. Item number 91 is a budget insertion from the State of New Jersey Department of Human Services for our area plan, Division of Senior Services, in the amount of $2,130,916. And item number 92 is the request approval of amendment of our 2021 area plan matrix in the amount not to exceed $1,319,202. That amendment is this being recommended is this to reward some of the agencies that we have contracts with that are providing nutrition, home delivered meals, certified home health aid, and residential maintenance for the seniors of Essex County. And if you have any questions, I'm here to answer anything you need to know.
Thank you. Mr. Paulovecchio. You're muted, sir. Mr.
I don't have any
Paulovecchio.
questions. Yeah,
Okay.
no question.
Mr. McInerney.
No questions.
Commissioners, questions or comments? Hearing none, I have a motion from Vice President Pomares and a second from Commissioner Mercado to take 91 and 92 as one. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Sebo,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado,
Yes.
Commissioner Luciano,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson. I see the thumbs up. That's a yes for Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner Graham,
Yes.
Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper,
Yes. Yes.
Commissioner Vice President Pomares,
Yes.
Commissioner President Richardson.
Yes.
So moved.
Just a point for Commissioner Johnson wanted to be, his vote to be affirmative on resolution 17 through 28, I think it was. Or 25, whatever those numbers were. Please add him to the affirmative.
Yes, Mr. President.
Thank you.
17 through, resolution 17 through 27.
27.
Okay.
And okay, Okay, Madam Clerk, let's move to report of board committees. Commissioners, do we have any reports of board committees? Any legislative reports? Any written communication? Any unfinished business? Vice President Pomares has something for new business.
Thank you, Mr. President. I know we don't often do a whole lot in this segment here, but I like to entertain from my colleagues a support for bringing a presentation by veteran Victor Mandial, who's approached me about the possibility of Essex County hosting a mobile version of the wall at the Vietnam Memorial, which is the wall in Washington, D.C. Apparently there is a mobile version of that, and it's made its way to some parts of New Jersey. And you may recall Victor Mandial was one of our honorees at the Veteran Celebration in 2019. He's very passionate about his work. He's very much involved in the community. And my ongoing dialogue with him has been very positive. I think it would be wonderful to be able to entertain this. It does come with a little bit of cost, but I think we can raise the funds for that. And I'd like to ask for all of your support, and I'd love to have it unanimously, because I think it's important that we do this as one body to show our support for those who we lost in Vietnam. And we often honor at our events. And I'd like to bring Victor in so he can explain to us in a very brief presentation at the next meeting, if schedules permit, to be able to introduce the concept to us and how we can support it here in Essex County. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. We're gonna have to talk about what those costs are.
Agreed. And that's why I like to bring Mr. Mandio in to give us a sense, because a lot of it was covered through sponsorships and such. But I think if we can kind of just get an initial idea for, and this is really for next year or perhaps a year after that. It takes some time to plan, and we want to be well ahead of the curve.
Thank you, sir. Commissioners, any other new business? Hearing none, let's move to public comment. Okay, Madam Clerk. This is on non-agenda items. However, since we are meeting remotely, the public had the opportunity to submit questions and comments for consideration, and they also have the opportunity to call in. Madam Clerk.
If you're calling in, the number is 855-756-7520. Use the password 76034#. After entering the password, listen for the prompt to press 0 to be placed in the queue to speak during the meeting, and you'll be acknowledged in the order that your call was received. Emails received for public comment will be read after the call's completed. So at this time, I'm going to ask our public information officer, Mr. Chalo Malumba, to begin the public comment session. Remember, keep all your electronics devices off while calling in.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Chalo Malumba, Public Information Officer. We do not have any callers.
Thank you. Mr. President, we do have one email submitted for public comment for non-agenda items, and this comes from Anthony Prinzo of North Caldwell, New Jersey. Dear President Richardson and fellow commissioners, dear commissioners, it has become extremely concerning regarding the speed of vehicles traveling on Mountain Avenue in North Caldwell, particularly the stretch of road between the Mountain Avenue Park and the entrance to Mountain Avenue from Small Avenue, which is a straight portion of the road. Living on the corner of Hickory Drive and Mountain Avenue, I see vehicles traveling 50 to even 80 miles per hour. This has become a daily event and a hazard to both pedestrians and other vehicles. The posted speed limit is 40 miles per hour. First, I request a flashing sign indicating the speed limit and your speed. I assume these record the speeds and the number of vehicles passing. Second, is it possible to install speed bumps? As this is a county road, I have been advised it is under your jurisdiction. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
And
That concludes public comment session. And as is our practice, we will answer the gentleman in writing. Commissioners, it's your session now. Any comments? Hearing none. I need a motion to adjourn. Not all signing at once.
I'll move it, Mr. President.
Second.
Moved by VP Pomaris, second by Commissioner Graham. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Take care, be safe. The pandemic is not over. Keep those masks on. Have a good night.
Thank you, sir. Good night, everyone.